So there was this little movie called Jurassic World Dominion, a film that came out 30 years ago. And to me, this is one of the worst movies, but also the biggest disappointments in recent years for me. So I was really interested in seeing what this movie, the latest movie in the Jurassic World franchise, Rebirth, and to see if the movie's at least better than that. And today I can confidently report that it is at least a little bit better than that. But before we start, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. I am reaching for a goal of 50 subscribers before the end of this month, so please help me reach that goal. So yesterday, I was given the opportunity to watch this mystery movie at my local Marcus theaters, which played Jurassic World Rebirth, and that's how I'm able to watch this film before it's released on July 2nd, for those of you who are wondering. And today, I'm going to be having this spoiler-free discussion on this film, but I may talk about a couple minor details with spoilers, but whenever that happens, I'll be having this detail up on the screen for a couple seconds before I get into the topic. So now, without further ado, let's dive right into it. So this movie, in a lot of ways, was a bit of a disappointment for me, but the biggest issue I had with this film was just the fact that in the end, the plot really felt shallow. This is a Jurassic World blockbuster film, so of course, I'm not expecting this deep, meaningful theme to be explored, but I do expect at least a basic plot line that's engaging to follow. The first Jurassic World in 2015 did that for me, and the reason why I hated the next two movies in the trilogy after that was because the basic plot line there was also just laughably bad and shallow. And the movie's not that bad in those levels, but unfortunately the plot itself still is pretty hollow. The movie's MacGuffin plot to get 3 genetic blood samples to create a medicine for heart disease just feels far too formulaic, and it feels like a video game plot. And, this still is a blockbuster movie, so I can, ignore this weak plot line. But the movie also just doesn't offer anything exciting besides this roadmap. And the movie just felt like a basic checklist of the beginning, first sample, second sample, third sample, and some final sequences. And it was just this basic, boring 5-act sequence. And, the overall, in terms of the plot, if I look at this movie once more, it just felt like a generic adventure that didn't really have to exist. And the plot also just seems so predictable and so cliched. All the other side characters that's on the main cast dies, and it's really predictable to see that happen. There's this one character that dies in the main cast, but once again, that character really felt very predictable, and it really seemed like he was gonna die. So it's all those cliches in this movie just are really bad, and there's just a lot of stupid things that are littered throughout this film. There's a wrapper of a chocolate bar that causes the D-Rex to unleash, and that was the first scene of the movie, and that was really laughable. There's a family that's urging one of their daughters to grab a boat right next to a T-Rex, and that really seemed really selfish and really stupid. And there's just too many little details like this in the film that really takes you out of the movie, and at certain points, you just become tired of all. And, the movie is also very slow. Almost every scene in the movie felt like it could have cut off a good 20, 30 seconds. There's just too many conversations in the movie and too many pieces within those conversations that didn't feel like it was necessary. People may argue that they're fleshing out these characters. The characterization in these scenes are important, but it's too shallow. And the movie in the first act tries to bring sympathy to some of the main cast by going through their life struggles, but this really does not factor into how they act throughout the rest of the film besides 1 or 2 scenes. And I don't care if you're going through a divorce. I don't care if some team member in your previous operation died, and I just really don't care about this, and it becomes annoying when that becomes a huge part in a lot of these middle acts, and that just made this movie balloon to a 2 hour and 30-minute movie for me. Personally, that's what it felt like, even though it's actually a 2 hour and 14-minute runtime, and a lot of the minutes in the reality of this film felt like unnecessary fluff. And everything about this movie I'm saying so far is it seems like I'm trying to treat this like a bad movie, but the cinematography in this movie is one of the best I've seen in a while. You can really tell this movie was shot on film, and our stylistic choices of the editing team and Gareth Edwards really do stand out. And in addition to the decision to shoot a lot of this on location is also evident. The island feels lush, it feels full of beauty and danger, the world feels lived in, and the CGI blends perfectly with all the practical effects in this movie. And this movie was shot in Thailand, Malta, and the United Kingdom. And there's one article that I'm displaying on the screen right now that's with Gareth Edwards talking about this movie, and all these struggles that they're talking about, all these adventures that Wade went through, you can see the dedication they had to shoot a lot of this practically, and it really does shine in this film, and this movie really does have this distinct, beautiful visual identity that's fun to follow, and yeah, that's one of the greatest strengths I think this movie does hold, and the performances in this movie are also, they're not bad. Like I mentioned before, the writing and arcs these characters follow are weak, but Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey, they all make these characters charismatic enough to follow. Rupert Friend also, and this movie does follow a pretty generic storyline, but the new addition to the family that gets lost is pretty exciting. There's this character called Xavier that's like the older sister's boyfriend, and he's just constantly hilarious. Made my theater crack up so many times, and you know, the main cast is pretty fun to follow. Like, I just wish the writing was a little bit stronger to make these performances stand out more. And the action sequences also, they're pretty weak. They just feel like they lack energy, unlike some of the other like scenes that we had before. And like the boat scene with the T-Rex, there's a scene in the middle act of this film, and even that the T-Rex just seemed very unmotivated. And you know, I just wish it did more with the action sequences. I just wish they added more action sequences. But you know, there's a decent amount of action sequences that are pretty good, so I can live with that. So overall, this film is a bit of disappointment for me because I was really excited by the potential of this movie. Gareth Edwards, he delivered great franchise entries before. David Cope, the original co-writer, the co-screenwriter of the original Jurassic Park movie, he's back. The castings are all really exciting, but in the movie, this movie didn't capture the magic I was hoping, which isn't fault because of my high expectations, but also just this movie was just weak on multiple levels. So no means this is a bad Jurassic entry, just a rather forgettable one, and hopefully in the future, this movie can lead to better Jurassic entries than the mindless cash grabs and, you know, the faults of this movie. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Are you excited for this film? Have you already seen it in advanced screening like me? Let me know all your thoughts down below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I am covering lots of different topics this week, like the final season of Squid Game, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And I'm Owen. This is Owen Talks Movies, and thanks for watching this video.